Yo, what up? It's your boy H2O, and welcome back to another episode of the New Balance Podcast. It's so good to see you, fam. It always feels like such a long time when we're not together, but here we are back together again with another episode. And listen, I want to cut straight through the chase and I want to get it in today. New Balance Podcast. Show my guest for our episode, Living Inside of What's Living Inside of You. Show some love to my brother, Fadi Mott. What up, Fadi?
Was good.
Man, it's so good to be on with you. And so good to have you on the New Balance podcast, man. What's been going on with you, Fadi?
Nothing really, just working, putting my head
Working.
down, grind, really.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I could see if we looked up dictionary and they said, had the word grind, I could see your picture being in there with it. You know what I mean? I'll take it. Yeah, I'll vouch for you.
All right, bet.
It's kind of crazy. That's kind of how we met. You was grinding, I met you grinding. And I think I don't know, I don't want to try to take credit for it, but I do have to acknowledge it at times. I think I have a good sense of perception. And so that day we met, man, I just perceived some things about you. That's why I was asking you the questions and talking with you. And we'll get a little bit more into that in our interview. But this whole living inside of what's living inside of you, I think it's so important for us to talk about. And what I want to do right here before we really delve into the interview, we were off camera. We were talking about the difference between um, having fun and then experiencing joy. And I was sharing with you, I understand when I was your age and going through that season of life, I was doing some things that I believe that was on the inside of me, right? But they were not the core things that I should have been focused on. So instead of me focusing on those things, or at least the things I knew I should have been focused on, I didn't deter them. I just stayed with what I was doing. And because of it, I experienced a lot of fun, right? And I don't have anything against fun. We should have fun in life. But if you're going to compare fun to joy all day long, we need to choose joy. When I speak about joy, to me, joy speaks to the longevity. Joy speaks to the thing that you were put here, that you were meant to do. And having fun is a temporary thing. It's a in the moment type of thing. And so, unfortunately, so many people live their life trying to have fun or chasing fun, right? But living on the inside of what's inside of you, if you if you cultivate it, if you embrace it, and you put in the work, it can definitely lead to you having joy and then having that joy over a long period of time. So I think that's something that we really, really want to push. And one of the things that we have in common is that you are not just grinding because it's the summer. When school is out, cats like, man, I need to gotta find me a J, and then I got to be in the gym working on my game. So I know what both of those are like, that college life. But kind of tell us a little bit, Fadi, about who you are, a little bit about your life, and then we'll kind of delve into your college life here in a little bit.
All right, bet. Uh, well, I'm Fadi. I'm from originally I'm from Newark, New Jersey. I was born there. I was
Yeah,
raised like
the
two.
bricks,
Yeah.
the bricks. I know. Oh, trust me, I know. I got some fam down there. Shout out, they boys. If they watching, they know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm from there. And then 2 years later, we came down to Texas to live in Rochelle for forever, basically until
Forever,
now.
got you.
And yeah, I went to high school around here, went to middle school, elementary, all that. And
Okay,
then while I was young, before I started playing basketball, actually I was in martial arts for 8 years.
okay,
Yeah, I
okay,
did.
cool.
And then I got my black belt when I was 12. And then
Wow.
I told my pops I wanted to make that transition to basketball. And that was around the time I was just starting middle school. I was, figuring out stuff, and then made the basketball team in middle school, decided to stick with it. And then high school came about. And then my senior year, I transferred high schools to Sharpstown in Houston. I just felt like that was a better fit for me, and we went to the playoffs for the first time in 20 years. Boom, we
Oh,
did,
incredible.
and then my school that I go to, Grandview University, they came down to Houston actually, and they had like an open run basically, and just previewing everybody in Houston, and I got lucky to get in basically.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man. That's incredible. I love these type of stories because what you do is you find out that you have more in common with people than you would ever know. My story, kind of how I got into school playing basketball. Our stories are a little similar in terms of getting the opportunity to play. But one of the things I want to talk about, obviously we're talking about living inside of what's inside of you. Talk to me a little bit about how you kind of fell in love with karate, how you got into martial arts. Like, was it something your parents say, well, hey, we think you should be in it because it, bring about discipline, or
Mhm.
did you just going through the neighborhood karate chopping little kids? Talk to me, man. How did you get in, man? I don't know. Did Bruce Lee write a letter for you? Talk to us, man. Let us. How did you get in, man?
When I was young, my pops he did when he was obviously before I was born. He was in New Jersey doing martial arts.
Got it.
I think I want to say when I was 4 years old, I started, and then yeah, from 4 until 12, really. And then when I was like, man, I remember this when I was like, I want to say like 8 years old. I told my pops, I said, because I was bad at first. I was really bad.
See, I knew it was in there. Go and
My
tell it. That's
pops,
right.
and I
That's right.
told him, man, I'm tired of being trash. And then that's when like the transition just changed. And then that's when I became state champion. I ended up going to Canada to for nationals one year. Unfortunately,
Okay.
I top three because in top three you get your like name in a book basically and of all of the like national champions or whatever.
Got
And
it.
my pops to this day will hang that over my head, but I apologize. But man, it was just a fun time really going around the state of Texas, going around the country fighting. I felt
Yeah,
like that.
competing. Yeah, because
Yeah.
that's what it boils down to. Is especially young men. It's something about us and the competing, man. We want to compete. We're trying to measure that thing up and against somebody, man, trying to see, hey, it's either you or me. And it doesn't matter if it's martial arts, if it's football, basketball, but it's just dominoes, checkers, cards. I mean, we are very, very competitive. But I think that's something I'm glad you shared that because I think that's one of the things it can help us find what's on the inside of us.
Mhm.
Like if you have that competitive nature in that way, and I said young men, but that's anybody. I mean, I know my sister, I got a bunch of girl cousins. You can look at the thing that you're competitive in. I think it speaks to something that's on the inside of you. So obviously that same competitiveness has transferred over into basketball and not just basketball, but the other areas that you're passionate about in life. But so talk about now you beat everybody up in the state of Texas. And so you like, man, I'm bored. Now it's time for me to start, dunking on people, crossing them over. How did you make that transition to basketball?
Well, it was I want to say it was sixth grade. It was a group of us in middle school that like always hung out, and some of them played football. I didn't play football. I wasn't nah, that ain't me. But some of them played football. Some of them played strictly basketball. But we all stayed together, and basically they was like, yeah, you should just try out because we was in PE sixth grade, and all I wanted to do was rebound the ball. That's it. I just wanted to jump up and get rebounds, let everybody shoot the ball. I just want to rebound.
Gotcha.
But they was like, yeah, you should just try out, see what happens. So seventh grade come around, I try out for the team. I make There was two teams, the A and B team. I made the A team, so I was like, maybe I'll stick with this. I talked to my parents, and then I started playing AAU, this, that, and the third, and then yeah, that same group. So really, it just started with the group of friends I had when I was growing up. Really, that's what motivated me to keep going.
That's what motivates you. So um I want to go back, I want to jump back to the karate. I mean the martial arts karate. Would you say knowing your dad had history in it, you know, practicing it, teaching it, did that inspire you and somewhat to want to be in it, involved in it as well? Not just from the competitive sport, I mean, part of it. But having a role model, that's what I'm getting it. That's what I'm getting to. Like having knowing he did that and he was doing that. Was it something about you that wanted to do what he was doing?
When I finally understood about what it was, more of a what it was, that's when I that's when so him playing that role, yeah, for sure,
For
definitely,
sure. Okay.
yeah. But
Yeah.
when he like when I finally got old enough to understand like competitiveness and winning and what goes beyond that, the discipline that it comes with it too as well. Then
Yeah.
yeah, him definitely
Good.
got
So I'm asking you that because like I think this is a great thing to use if you're gonna live inside of what's living inside of you. Sometimes you need a role model. You need an example. I know you're saying, well, hey man, how do I know? Well, one of the things, because we're talking, God will show you things through your family. So think about this. Um, like I can tell you're athletic um, kid. Now, not all the time, but in a lot of cases, you can trace that athleticism back to the father, to the mother, or sometimes even both.
Mhm.
If you even begin to listen to your dad tell stories about when he was young, if you listen to your mom tell stories about when they were young, you can trace certain things. It's like, oh man, wow, I didn't even know you did that. Oh, I didn't know that you were ever interested in that. So, in other words, sometimes you can look at your parents or your guardian, or even if you're an adult, you can look at your fear of influence of the people that are in your life. You can draw from those things to help you understand and to gauge like living inside of the thing that's living inside of you. So let me case in point. Um my mom, man, I've been like this little church boy, if you will, pretty much all my life, man. It's all I've known. It's all I've been around in terms of what she exposed me to. Um, she grew up the same way. And, in school, man, I did like in junior high, man, I was in band, I did choir, all that other stuff. And man, a lot of my friends, they didn't do that stuff, right? So, some of the reason they didn't do it because they hadn't been exposed to it, or they hadn't seen it. For me, I grew up doing it. Um, but I said that to say I have um, I have some God's given me some gift as it relates to musically, right? Having the ability to hear, having the ability to create, having the ability to arrange, having the ability to compose. All of that comes from music. But when I look at my dad and I look at my mom, look at different ones in my family, like it comes from that. I said that to say this: if I wasn't exposed to it, if I wasn't around it, I might not know that that thing was living on the inside of me. So if you remember the scripture that we had, it said, "But we have this treasure in earthen vessels." Sometimes young people, not all the time, but sometimes it's hard to get a young person to look at the treasure that they have because you already know, Fadi. By the time you turn 10, 11, 12, man, who are the most important people in your life? We know it's not your mom and dad; it's your friends. It's like, man, my friends this, my friends that. I want to go hang with my friends. I want to do this. And you spend, to tell the truth, you spend a lot of times with your friends. You're with them at school for 8 hours. If y'all are doing extracurricular activities. And now, when I grew up, we didn't have cell phones. So you guys have cell phones. It's so many things, right? And so if you're not careful, it's easy to see someone else's treasure and then you try to live in it. So it was just good to hear kind of the journey of how you got to Grandview because you went through those things that kind of helped make you the person you are today. Would you agree, Fadi?
Yeah, for sure, hundred
Would
percent.
you would you also agree that the lessons you learn, I would even say some of your toughness that you have on the basketball court, that's definitely a direct result from martial arts.
Yeah, for sure.
I've never been in a match with somebody kicking me with their feet, but I know you just can't stand there and quit because you'll be done got knocked smooth out. Like it's a sport, you just can't. Just say throw your hands up and quit. In that way, it teaches you a resolve. I know that much about it. And so having a resolve is not just for sports. It's going to be a life. It's going to be a life tool that you're going to need for the rest of your life. So it's cool learning those things at a young age. Um, what about your passion wakes you up and drives you in life, Fadi?
Just being able to being able to find out what I want to do in life. Still having that search. I feel like
Still
waking
having
up.
that search.
Yeah, because waking up, I feel like knowing what I would be doing. Yeah, I'd still be hungry, still trying to get to the goal, but still trying to figure out what it is I specifically in detail want to do. I feel like that's what keeps me motivated and makes me want to work, makes me want to keep continue to play basketball, makes me want to meet people and make relationships to where they can point me in directions and such things.
Gotcha. So in other words, it's like I'm in this real time season where I'm trying to figure out my why.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out my why. That's good. That's good. Um, if I ask you, I don't remember what are you currently going to school for? Have you chosen a degree plan? Or are you still figuring that portion out too?
I started with I chose business. I'm gonna
Okay,
continue, but I'm not for sure yet what I want to do with it. But I definitely want to stay in that area for sure.
yeah. Well, I know when I talk to you, I can sense from you that you definitely have something entrepreneurial about you as well. I could see you definitely, helping somebody or build their thing, but I could definitely see you trying to focus to have your own brand as well. Is that spot on? Or talk to me about that.
I mean, if I get the opportunity, for sure, I definitely would like to start something. But like helping others, I get that. I know I get that from my mom for
You
sure.
get that from your mom. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about your mom and her initiative, to help people. What does that look like? How long has she been doing it? And what about it inspired you? Because it's right along about the passion. So obviously helping people, it would be one of her passion that wakes her up. So
Mhm.
what about seeing her help people gets on you or motivates you? Talk about that.
Man, my mother has done so much for me.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's really insane. But just seeing that, especially like in one category of her life for sure, politics. The way she,
Politics. Yeah. Let's
the
delve
way
into
she,
it.
the way she helps people, like not even just man. It's just the way she helps people get registered to vote or
Right.
help us campaign to help them get into office or helping herself get into campaign to get into office. The help that she gives, man, is the sacrifices that she gives. I just know,
Yeah.
and even if it's not the outcome she wants, she can always say that she gave her all.
She
She
gave
gave
it her all. Absolutely. Incredible. That like a once again, we have that's another thing we have in common. My mom, she worked, heavily in politics and you know, where there was, and I mean this in the most respectful way, but in politics it happens where there was a fight. My mom was she was in the mix of it. In other words, fighting for those things that are just, those things that are right, fighting for the person that doesn't have a voice, fighting to make sure that we have equal this, that. I remember seeing her doing it. I remember her being involved, going, taking us. I know there was a season she wanted me to be involved in it. Obviously, that wasn't the thing I felt led or called to, but
Mhm.
I learned a lot about politics through her care and her giving to others, and just seeing the model that she was. It definitely left an imprint on my life. So I can definitely attest to how you feel about seeing, how you feel about what your mom does in helping other people. It's definitely it's a big thing. And then two, it'll manifest. You're gonna see it manifest in your life body in some other ways. I think one of the ways I see it manifest in my life as a father. Um, like a father, man, when you become a father, you have to get ready to be in the classroom of learning for the rest of your life, because with kids, you're always learning. even in their adult years, you're constantly learning. So I see a lot of that she did back then. I see myself like doing it and use it in my life now, especially as a father and as a husband. So that's real cool that you bring that point out. But let's get back to you being this college student um, at Grandview. Talk a little bit about your experience there at Grandview. Obviously, we know you're there playing ball, but talk about this college life because I think first off, I just want to applaud you by saying it's cool that you chose this path. We know that there are a lot of your generation they're not choosing to go to college, and I'm not against it. I'm not against it. I know college is not for everyone, but I would encourage you if you're not going to go to college, you definitely need to have a strong plan on what it is that you're going to do in life and know how you're going to get there. So the fact that you chose college, talk a little bit about your experience out at Grandview.
Definitely a different experience because the difference from Texas to Iowa is really different.
I bet you it is.
It's a huge difference, but I mean, what college really taught me is just time management and responsibility. That's the two
Okay.
things I got
Okay. I like that. Okay.
because every day isn't the same.
Right.
Like,
That's right.
oh, you don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, you could, but most times you don't. Your friends want to do things. You still, for me, I got basketball classes, all that. So I feel like time management, responsibility, and maybe even accountability. Those three things I feel like are is what I learned the most so far in my 2 years of being there.
Oh, that's what's up. Time management, responsibility, and what was the other one?
Accountability.
And accountability. Yeah. Especially that accountability, man. That accountability is everything. But think of it this way. Um, if you were closer to home, you may not have those as your big three. It's something about being away from home, being away from what you've grown up in that forces you to have to look at things like, man, I might not have this in my day planner, but going forward, I need to add this in if I'm gonna have a successful day because you said it and you're absolutely right. No day is the same, especially on the college campus. Even even though you may have a routine, maybe having certain classes on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Mondays, Mondays and Wednesdays, you got practice, you got games. Those things are routine, but the whole college life experience, you're right, from day to day is definitely different.
Mhm.
And I know for some people it can be really overwhelming, especially when you go those first maybe couple years, and then being so far from home. I just know, man. Shoot, had you ever? Well, you from the brick, so the weather probably didn't even affect you. Being in Iowa, man, because I know it's nothing like Texas in terms of the weather.
Completely opposite. I'm talking about snowing in April.
Yes, yes,
Too different.
yeah. So that's an adjustment that you have to make. Um, so let's talk about this. Let's talk about the court. Let's talk about this basketball court. Actually, what I want to do, Fadi, I want to put something up right here. Let me know if you see this.
What you got out right now?
Yeah, can you see that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So to our audience, this is a young man on the court getting it in. Look like he's putting the ball. Is Tell me what's going on in this picture. I don't want to try to commentate it. I'm not there.
I think this is the start of the big run that we had this game. I just drove baseline and just laid it up, I think, basically.
Okay. Okay. So you going in for a shot.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So many fun memories of playing ball. I'm thankful that I got a chance to play on the next level in college, man. It's so much fun, man. Your teammates, the traveling, playing against, people from all over
Mhm.
and just having that experience, man. Talk to, I'm gonna keep this picture up for a little bit. Talk about the transition from playing on a high school level to playing on a college level. Because it still is about your passion. You're not going all the way to Iowa just because you think you want to play basketball. You have to have a passion to go that far, and to have a fresh new beginning in a new place to go play something that you love. So talk a little bit about that.
Uh, I can definitely say one thing I'm a believer in is that the pace of the game. I didn't really people would
That's
tell
it.
me that the game will be a lot faster, but you don't really understand. For me, I have to be in the moment to understand or to learn
Right.
things.
It's way
So
faster.
when we started playing in college, the pace like back and forth, and it's like nonstop. Basically, it feels like it's nonstop.
It
But
is.
definitely, pace is one, and being able and body strength for sure. You're playing
Hmm.
against bigger dudes, and I'm talking about in college. I might have been playing dudes that was like 6 foot, maybe 150 pounds. I go to college, and first game I'm looking at dudes that's 6'8", 210,
Yes,
built
sir.
strong,
Yes, sir.
fast, and all that. And but definitely the pace and definitely having the strength. I feel like those are two things that
Definitely. Okay. Pace and strength. You know, we're talking about your passion and what wakes you up. What type of grind in terms of working out? Because in my opinion, I was a I like being in the gym, but I did also a lot of work on. I worked a lot on my cardio and my endurance. Um, like, what is talk to us about that? How does that? Um, I'm gonna switch it back to regular screen. How does that? How does that translate into college? And before you answer, I know sometimes, as a parent, you're trying to figure it out because you really want to help your kid be in the best position when they go off to college, right? But especially when you have a student athlete. And so hopefully parents that are watching this, it may help you understand and figure your son or your daughter out in terms of what they're going to be going into or what they're going to have to deal with in terms of this new life. Because when you live inside of that treasure in that arena, things change high school versus college. So talk a little bit about your workout grind, your whole mental preparation, what it takes to be successful at the college level.
really, it's having for me. It's having the people around me. I got a couple teammates that motivate me to work out, and that's
Okay.
not I'm not even talking about just like basketball workout, just like you said, cardio or weightlifting, going to
Right.
lift on, going to work out on my own, going to run on my own, things like that. So definitely having the teammates to text you and go, hey, I'm about to go do this. You want to join or call you
Absolutely.
or
That's
literally knock on your door while you're dead sleep, telling you, hey, come on, let's go work
yeah.
out, things like that. So definitely the teammates for sure.
Yeah, that's good, man, because that's one of the things we talk about. Like if like living inside of what's living inside of you on the other podcast, we talked about you got to have an accountability partner. You got to
Hmm.
find some people, and sometimes like, well, what is an accountability partner? One accountability partner can be find somebody who's doing what you want to do and follow them, imitate the principles that they're doing. You may want to even see if you can set some time to talk with them to find out little tidbits or things that they're doing, so you can be successful. Another way of accountability is you got to have some people in your life that's going to tell you the truth no matter what. They're going to tell you the tough stuff. They're not going to sugarcoat it, and they're not going to be like, I'm going to let it slide. No, you need somebody like a cut man in a boxing match. If the boxer comes back and he's swole, the cut man, he don't wait he don't wait for his eye to be hanging out. No, every round he's touching him up. It's an accountability. The trainer is in the corner. He has a vantage point that the boxer doesn't have. So when he comes back to sit down, that trainer and that cup man can share things with him that are necessary for winning. So that's what I call accountability. And I know sometimes it doesn't feel good, but it's necessary. We have to have accountability. We have to talk about some of the tough seasons, man, especially with the weather out there. Talk about what it's like when man, I don't feel like getting up, and snow all the way up to the window and ice is everywhere. And, you
Uh,
know, man, mama, I can't get mama's lasagna. I got to eat this cafeteria food. And come on, man, talk about, because all of us have hit the college wall. It's like, oh man, it's like, man, I want to be home, man. I miss my people or whatever the case may be. I know my friends probably at the park and I'm out here on the frozen tundra. And talk about that. Talk about when you hit that brick wall.
man, it was tough. I can't lie. Waking
Yeah,
up, and and like you said, it really be snow covering up the doors and things like that. So
absolutely.
days, dog, you might have to chalk it up one or two and just be like, hey, I'll catch you on the next one, low key.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, just the environment. I know I got friends there that don't even play basketball. We got a little basketball court outside in the middle of campus. They go, hey, come on, let's go outside basketball. And legit, it be the most windiest time ever in like the month. And I'm like,
right.
yo, what are we doing? Right? Like, you have on shorts. Are you okay? Please talk to me. Things like that. So
Absolutely.
them weathers, it could get bad. It rain a lot up there too. It does, but and it's windy. The wind,
Yeah.
man, it's just that wind, man. You just can't walk out there in no shorts and be comfortable.
No, 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 no. That's totally different. Um, I wanna, I kind of, not kind of, I am. I want to turn the channel, so to speak, and shift gears because I think when we talk about living inside of what's inside of us, I think you should definitely be a principle-driven individual. I'm very, very intrigued to hear your answer to these questions that I'm about to ask.
Okay.
As a young man, especially as a young black man living here in America, um, you see a lot, whether it be through the news, whether it be when you're home, whether it be on that campus, or whether it be through friends who are in other parts of the world. Obviously, going to Sharpstown and playing in H Town, you guys, man, y'all have a pretty good camaraderie in terms of sports. So I know you know other guys that are playing ball in other places and other spaces. What I'm getting to when you talk about living inside of what's inside of you, we live in a time now where you see your generation really, really pressing the envelope and speaking out and standing up on issues that may or may not be so easy to talk about. And what I wanted to ask you about, how do you handle situations when it puts pressure on you to live on the inside? I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. How do you handle situations that put pressure on you when you're trying to live on the inside of what's inside of you? How do you deal with those moments, or how do you deal with those situations and still keep your cool? Or maybe you've been put in a situation and maybe it didn't go so well. Maybe you lost your cool. Let's talk about some of that, what it looks like and how you navigate it.
Mm, I'm not that type of person to like when I get in situations like that. I'm not the type of person to blow up in the moment.
Okay.
I'll go back. I'll let whatever happened happen, and I'll go back home. And I feel like the way I get it off my chest and is explaining it to my family.
Okay.
Way that's one big way I feel like I've dealt with things
Okay.
because doing exploding in the moment. For me, it feels like that's not helpful. It
It's not
won't
gonna help. Yeah, it's not gonna help.
want. So I feel like accepting and listening and understanding what happened in the moment, and then not only taking it back home, but speaking to your parents about it and having them explain to you what happened is one big thing that I feel like helped me get through life. So definitely understand what you mean by that. But taking
That's
that home,
good.
parents for sure is one thing I do.
That's good. One of the things I like to see more of is a generation being more responsible and controlling their emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, now, let me say this right along with that. I'm not telling you to turn a blind eye. I'm not telling you to look away from things. I'm not saying that, but I am asking you to have and be in control of what affects you and how it affects you, right? Because there are some situations that can cause you to lose it. But I believe if you put in the work and you've been preparing for it or being prepared, it can help you navigate those situations, right? And you said something that's so critical. You've been in college 2 years, and the fact that you are still keeping the lines of communication open with your parents, discussing tough things, man, I want to commend you for doing that. I know a lot of kids, teenagers, man, when they leave home, it's like, hey, I'm an adult now. You know, you guys did your part. I'm an adult like you, but it's a process, right? And I want to commend you to continue to do that, to get that wisdom, to get that counsel. It'll definitely help you in a lot of situations. Now, you and I both know just in the last 2 months, just some of the headlines that we've had in the news has been so heartbreaking.
Hmm.
Um, when we talk about helping families and helping communities, just what are some of the things that's at the forefront of your heart that you like to see us do in our communities and in our families to help us be better, right?
Mm, one thing I say is one thing I say is just listening as a parent, listening to what the kid wants and
Man,
understanding what they
yeah,
want. I feel like
yeah,
that's one thing because forcing, I'm not gonna say forcing, but wanting your kid to do something and then putting it on them, I feel like that's too much. And if
okay,
they're not enjoying it, then that's not. I feel like that's not good. So I feel
right.
like into what the kid wants, understanding what they want, and then trying to, and even if you don't know the answer, go to someone who does that can help them get to where they want to be. So definitely listening and understanding the kid is one thing I feel like that should
That's
be.
a big one. So we're saying that for our families and within the community, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
So
for
I, if yeah, so I want to give an example, and I want you to kind of chime in with me.
sure. Hmm.
So in this scenario, you're the parent, Fadi, and I'm the kid. So let's say as the parent, Fadi, and we're going to use your situation. Let's just say, let's fast forward. You're a graduate of Grandview. You play ball. It was a wonderful experience for you. You have your degree in business. You're doing well in life, and you've made a choice that, hey, because of my experience, because of what I've experienced and what I've been through, all of my kids are going to Grandview, right? And I want them to go um, do business. That's what we do as a family. Like you made that choice. Now, what you just, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But if I understand you clearly and you're saying listening to our kids, so now we fast forward, you have a son, he's 16, 17. So hey, it's time to we should be discussing where you're going. And so as a parent, you're like, well, it's obvious you're going to Grandview. We're going to see you an hour, and they have a great business program, the whole nine. But the kid is like, well, dad, I know, man, that's our alma mater, and I got love for Grandview, but I was thinking that I want to just go, um, I want to do mass communications, and I just want to stay here in Texas and go to Stephen F. Austin. At that moment, as a parent, I want to get some feedback from you.
Hmm.
In your opinion, what do you think the parents' responsibility is in this situation at that point when the child tells them, hey, this is what I thought about, this is what I know I want to go do, and this is the school I want to go do it at, even though I know that's where you went and that's where you want me to go. How do you think the parent should respond to that?
Parents should definitely, when the kid says that, definitely find ways to Stephen F. Austin, find connections to help find the kid to get in somehow, or but definitely not, the way to not go about that is to try to force your kid to go do
To go to
exactly.
Grandview.
Yeah,
Got you.
send them to Stephen F. Austin if that's what they want to do.
Got it. Okay. No, it's interesting. I think we need to have these conversations, right? And please, parents watching this, I'm not trying to make you do anything or say, but We're hearing from a generation, and I agree with them. We have to have better listening skills. I came up in the time where um, the parent they gave information down, information couldn't come back up. That's the era that I grew up in. Now I'm a parent in your era, Fadi. So I've had to adjust and learn how to listen and receive information from my kids. I'll be honest with you. At times I did struggle, especially with our oldest daughter. It seems unfair, but it's almost like, and I hate this term, but I'm saying it specifically for this podcast. It makes it feel like she was the practice kid,
Mm-hmm.
but she wasn't. I was just immature as a dad, and I was learning. So I'm learning and having to do it at the same time with her. Obviously, 2 kids later, obviously I would be a lot better at it, right? That's anybody. But I would encourage you, parents, if you want to encourage them and show them an example of how to live inside of what's living inside of them, it is we're gonna have to make adjustments, you know. Um, I think that's a good one. I appreciate you sharing that one, Fadi. Now, let me ask you this, Fadi, from your generation. Let's name some things that could make relationships with parents better from um, from the youth side of things. Like what can be some things that youth should practice more in showing parents respect more in terms of the maturation of growing up in their homes? What because you've been out of the house 2 years now, you've been at college, and so you're a young man now. You've seen some things and been around some things. What things could you shed light on, whether it be from experience, personal, what you've seen, um, a trend of things that you see happening now in homes or with friends? Talk about it if you can.
I think one thing for me when growing up when I was young is when I would do something and then, like, I would say someone else would go to my parents and be like, "Oh, your kid is really good. You should," or something in that long the line. Now with kids and kids, I feel like if enough of them come together and say, "Hey," to the parents or whoever, and say, "Hey, I want to do this," I feel like that's one thing. That's one key that would take that the parents should know that, hey, they really want to, that makes them excited, that brings them their happiness, and pursue that instead of just like not really pursuing it at all and not saying anything about it really.
Okay, so in other words, let me see if I understand you. So you would like to see kids have a more active role in just being honest and opening up, saying what it is that I want to do in life, or what it is I want to be in life.
Hmm.
So here, back to another scenario. If I'm dad, I got you playing football. Now it's your high school is like, hey, we've been waiting for this. It's time to play. But you're like, man, I don't want to play football. I really want to play drums in the band.
Hmm.
Okay. So in other words, so it sounds like based off what you're saying, the parents have to be more engaged, and so does kids. Now, obviously, this only happens through communication, like
Hmm.
an ongoing like open, honest communication. And I think the other thing that we have to add to this too, Fadi, is saying, um, with my kids, I always have to remind them that I might be, I might begin, or I'm probably about to say some tough things to you,
Hmm.
but it's not personal. Like personally, you are the apple of my eye. I love you to life, man. There's nothing I wouldn't do for you. And like I'm your number one fan. Me and your mom, we riding for you.
Hmm.
But unfortunately, because of the maturation of us, you growing, me growing, I have a responsibility to be a parent. So in parent moments, you have to just take the time and say, listen, this is not about the person, this is about performance. You get that? And parents, if we could take that approach and be like, hey, I got to deal with you got some performance things that we got to talk about. As a person, man, I love you. And I know you love me back. But right now, we're not talking about your person. I need to talk about, man, why did you bring home 5 F's on your report card? Like that's unacceptable, and we have to deal with it. So I think that's a good thing, and I appreciate you answering those questions, Fadi.
Mhm.
You know, man, I'm all about um, living inside of what's living inside of me. Um, but we know that our homes are up under attack like never before. Obviously, you come from a good situation. Your parents have done, outstanding job with you. So, mom and dad, shout you out if you ever see this. Kudos. You did a good job with Fadi, and we can definitely see the long lasting effects of that. So, but some, just to be honest, we know that's not every home. And so if you're watching this and you're like, hey, well, maybe my home's not like that. Well, hey, there's room for improvement for all of us, from the parent, from the child, our communities. We see the overflow of it at schools. Something has to change. The schools can't continue to function the way they're functioning. So in terms of the homes, there's some things that we have to, do better as well too. We can't put it all on the schools. They have their part, but as families and communities, we got to do a better. We got to do a better job as well too. Man, this has been a good conversation, man, and you are probably. I'm trying to think. This has just been such a unique interview, and I think it also, like I said, I want to demonstrate unity and teamwork. I like the dynamics of the team because I think we can both learn from each other and then learn from each other's generations, right? And I think if we're able to walk together, and I take this from you, you take that from me to better so we can be the whole. I think it'll help us out a lot, man. So New Balance Podcast, show some love to my homie Fadi. Man, this was good. I'm glad we did this, man, because you got
Appreciate
me thinking about some other things, and I think we really need to um, to work on, right? Um, the biggest room in the world is a room for improvement, and all of us need to spend some time in it, man. So, once again, man, New Balance Podcast, man, we appreciate you being on, and it's time for us to live inside of what's living inside of us, man. I'm getting tongue tied. We have a young man on today that's definitely doing that. And man, Fadi, man, we expect great things from you. Looking forward to the great things you're gonna do. And hey, who knows, man? I might have to get you on my cash out, man, and hire you to teach me a little martial arts. Teach me a couple of tricks, Teach me a little Bruce Lee, man. I know you still know it.
a little bit, a little bit.
Yeah, man. I think I might have what's the lowest belt?
White or no
White.
belt.
So I got an off-white belt. I got an off. If white is the lowest belt, I have an off-white belt. So I'm like, I'm not even, you know what I mean? I'm like in the pre-K. I'm like in the pre-K class, man. So yeah, man, you go teach me a couple moves, man, so I can get my game up.
I got you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, listen, man, we got to get out of here, man. But once again, we appreciate you, Fadi. And to the New Balance family, man, much love to you. As we always say, man, there's strength for today, sustenance for tomorrow. It's your boy, your potential conditioner, H2O. We'll see you when we see you. Peace.